Halloween Fresh Baked. We are here at the happiest place on earth, as always, right? And you know what? I had so much fun the other week. I'm sure you had fun with us. We had Kat Cressida with us, and we learned some really cool stuff about the park. And I like learning cool stuff that I don't know. I know you guys like those secrets too. And it's Halloween time right now. I'm feeling some Halloween vibes everywhere, and I would like to have a little bit more. So I feel like we need some more knowledge, and I think I know what we can do. Good morning!
Good morning!
Good morning, Kat!
1 minute I was sleeping in bed, and the next second I'm
probably counting little sheep ghosts. I'm sorry to have woken you up, but thank you for showing up like I summoned you here.
So magical.
You look great, my darling, so don't even worry about it.
Oh my goodness, I'm in full Halloween garb.
So are you. I kind of summoned you here for a reason, Kat.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun with you, and I just feel like the Halloween season is one of my favorite times of year, and I think you might have some special knowledge on it.
I'm sorry, I'm just like so mystified that I got summoned by Fresh Baked Disney on a Sunday morning.
And now you're on Main Street.
I'm on Main Street.
Do you think there's any way that you might be able to help me and the rest of Fresh Baked out with some more Halloween special, any sort of pizzazz that you might have with Disneyland and Halloween season together?
I may have a couple of secrets up my sleeve.
A few things?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, so let's hang out. Let's see what Disneyland and Halloween have to go hand in hand together.
Let's do it.
All right, Kat. We are here in New Orleans Square. To me, this is where I feel Halloween the most at Disneyland.
I would agree with that.
And I've actually heard this crazy rumor. Now, correct me if I'm wrong or not. Some might say Halloween is the reason for Disneyland. What do you think about that rumor?
You know, that's actually, in a lot of, how you put that, I really love that. And I've never thought of it that way, but that actually, there's a lot of truth to that. Did you know about that?
I have no idea. I thought that was a crazy rumor. That's why I wanted to see what you thought.
Well, what I think is really cool, just to tee off and to answer your question, is that in a lot of ways, the mythology goes, of course, that Walt had everything to do with Anaheim being the destination, that Walt was scouting secretly for a couple of years for an amazing SoCal location and doing it on the hush-hush, and that he was looking for something that would fit all of his purposes. But what a lot of people don't know is that Anaheim, at the same time, was teeing up and doing their own bit of recon to figure out how they were going to actually pull Disney and the entertainment industry into Anaheim. So Anaheim had as much to do with it as Walt Disney.
That is so crazy. That makes a little more sense why to me I feel like Anaheim and Disney, they go back.
They go back. So to answer your awesome question, back in the 20s, from the 20s on, Anaheim was a very famous agricultural destination. It was famous for its farmlands, its strawberries, its orange groves. We all know about that in Orange County. But the people who actually ran Orange County and Anaheim, they had some plots up their sleeve. They didn't want to remain the agricultural center of Southern California. They had in their nugget that they wanted to be something grander. They wanted to pull the entertainment industry from Los Angeles, which for those of you who don't know is about an hour north of Disneyland, of Anaheim. They wanted to get them into Anaheim. So they hatched a plan that at Halloween, for some reason, they were going to throw this massive Halloween festival, and they started it in the 20s. So this Halloween festival in Anaheim became this major draw from all over the country. And they were very crafty because they would invite from major corporations from the East, Ford, General Electric, some of the same people that Walt Disney partnered with for the World's Fair in 1964.
Right.
They were pulling in executives to be the judge for the Halloween floats.
Smart.
Very smart. So, and of course, Pasadena had the Rose Parade as an early tradition. Well, the Anaheim Halloween Festival was a huge deal, and it would draw literally hundreds of thousands of people. Okay. So, come 1953, the Chamber of Commerce goes, we really need to get in on what's going on in Hollywood, because that was like golden age of Hollywood, basically. And they wanted to pull in studios, they wanted shoots, they wanted
big execs.
They wanted to blow up and basically get rid of the agricultural stigma that they felt that they had at that time. They wanted to industrialize. So they start sending out these invitations to these major executives. all over the country, and particularly Los Angeles. Well, they managed to get the attention of several top studios, but who they really wanted was Walt Disney. So they send out some invitations to Disney himself personally. What they sort of knew was that Disney was looking at that point for a big plot of land. But the city of Anaheim thought it was so that he could extend his studios.
Wow.
They didn't know it was for a park. So Walt, who of course is looking for great agriculture to, start to build his park.
Right.
1953, wasn't anywhere close to it. Disney says, we'll use this invitation to be judges in their annual Halloween festival as an excuse to spy on the city of Anaheim and
Any
figure
foundation?
out to see if there's any possibility of the city of Anaheim being the point for Disneyland. So both sides think that they're playing the other side, right? They're sending out invitations to Walt Disney hoping to lure him down, and Disney is going, okay, we'll go ahead and accept their invitation to judge the Halloween festival, and we'll use this excuse to, spy on the land and see what they may be willing to do for us. So we'll do it subtly. Both sides are like, it's adorable, right? Like an espionage novel.
Being all sneaky.
So the 1953 Halloween Festival is a big success. It's the first time that Disney Studios has participated in it. And they send down characters. They've got Pinocchio, Snow White, Peter Pan, which hadn't released yet. They send down as an ambassador. And they basically enter in several floats as a gift to the city of Anaheim. And that's the start of this whole amazing kickoff. So
that's so crazy. I'm kind of a history nerd for things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I will be clear on that. I'm passionate about Disney. That is really, really, really cool.
I think it's really cool too.
So, Kat, would you say that that's the beginning of Disneyland, or do you think that or do you know if there's anything that happened in between that?
She has such good questions. Well, funny that you should ask. No, that little espionage spy game that was going on in 1953 was sort of the official, let's all plot this out together. That's when Disney really set down his team, and the Stanford Research Institute, SRI, very prestigious, which was plotting out from, all the way from, I think they were out in Santa Monica and Venice, all the way down through the beaches, Huntington Beach. They were still trying to figure out, and they also wanted to make sure they had enough distance from Knott's Berry Farm. But right around then was when the Stanford Research Institute said, you really have to be careful about utilities. It's going to be a major groundbreaking, whether or not, game changer, whether or not we can actually do something as massive as Disney had in mind. Keep in mind, nothing like that had ever been attempted. Such a massive amusement park,
right,
and so sophisticated, where they would have to draw tons of electricity and lay new, all kinds of piping,
right,
for all kinds of plumbing and everything. So in 1953, they really started to hash it out. Would the city of Anaheim be willing to annex these external lands and incorporate them into the city of Anaheim? Would there be enough room for hotels? Should they, it's so cute, maybe we'll want a hotel at some point. Maybe one hotel to service the area.
One little
hotel
rooms in case someone wants to spend the night.
Exactly. So a couple of restaurants externally. Maybe it'll become a tourist destination. Who knows? So that started the conversation, and of course they were able to sort of wrap up and get everything in place. Yes, the city of Anaheim was on board to do whatever Disney asked for. Thank goodness, right? And in June of 1954, they officially broke ground. And once you know it, it took only a year. I mean, that still astonishes me that it took only a year for them to build the castle and lay all of the groundwork, clear all the orange groves, of course. So that is actually how Halloween kicked off.
Wow. That is so crazy.
I know, I love it. So thank you, Halloween, because if it hadn't been for what's now called the Anaheim Fall Festival, which is what it's now become, there never would be a Disneyland down here.
No Disneyland. We wouldn't be here in this
We would not
right
be here
now
at the Halloween tree.
Ugh. Okay, Kat. I really like that. that. I knew there had to be some sort of truth to that rumor. I didn't realize how much truth there was.
And
going
I love
to be
that
to
Fresh
it.
Baked always has the inside scoop on these rumors.
We've got some good ears and eyes out there, and
that you snapped me here to answer.
That's what I was going to say. I'm glad that you are here when I'm summoning you. And I'm curious. How did Halloween fare once Disneyland was up and running?
It's such a great question, actually, because of course it had such an important part. It played such an important part in the start of it.
Right.
It really was responsible for Disneyland, and certainly Disneyland as we know it. But interestingly enough, Halloween had a really hard time getting traction at Disneyland, which I find just fascinating, because you would think in the Magic Kingdom, in the happiest place on earth, where it's all about costumes and the show and fantasy and making fantasy come to life, which is what Halloween is so much about.
Right.
You know, it did not really have any success for a very long time. The Disneyland executives, for a very long time, when asked, because of course every year people would ask, will there be a Halloween in Disneyland? Will it be celebrated? They would say, we haven't yet figured out how to work the format. As if Halloween is a format to figure out.
Right.
But they were 1955, of course, they were figuring out what it was going to look like. Through the 60s, as it was really getting traction, Tomorrowland was taking off, the park was expanding, New Orleans Square, of course, eventually, where we are now, got instated. But they still couldn't quite figure out the angle or what they were going to do with Halloween. And of course, Knott's Berry Farm, which had been here even prior to Disneyland. They had huge success started in 1973 was when Knott's Scary Farm started. So that especially had Disneyland sort of pull back and go, oh, well, we're not going to look like we're trying to compete with what's going on at Knott's Berry Farm. So that was sort of always in the culture. Again, interestingly enough, because of all of that, new excitement going on in the Southland with Knott's Scary Farm and other things popping up, Magic Mountain, they felt very specifically that Disneyland needed to remain Disneyland. When they did finally, I love this story. This is going to blow you away. So the president at the time was Bob Roth. Bob Roth kind of leaks to the press that for the first time in history, Disneyland is going to honor and commemorate Halloween. So the way they decide to do this is, I love the park, and I obviously am passionate about how incredible, Disneyland synergy and PR is. But they decide that maybe the smart move will be, because they've never really done it before, that they'll just sort of do a slow, quiet roll into the holiday. So the way they decide to do this is they tee up Rick Dees, who was a huge, famous DJ in the 90s. Kiss, right? K-I-S.
Huge.
Right. So they plant him at the Haunted Mansion starting at 5:30 in the morning. And he's broadcasting live from the Haunted Mansion, and I have a special place in my heart for that. And he basically announces to the Southland that to commemorate Halloween, they will go ahead and let anybody in for free before 8:30 who shows up with costumes. And somehow the Disneyland executives, that's right, you're like, somehow the Disneyland executives believe that this will be a nice, quiet, slow roll-in, and that maybe they'll get a few families showing up, they'll get some press out, and that there'll be a nice, quiet introduction to Halloween. Well, as you might imagine, this kicks off Armageddon. Literally.
Fools.
It's shut, from both sides of the 5 freeway coming into Disneyland, there's gridlock from both sides of the 5 freeway, from the north and the south. And this was during the week, so it shuts down any access to schools anywhere in the Anaheim, Santa Ana area in Orange County. Schools aren't understanding why the kids aren't showing up, and literally from all parts of the Southland, families are showing up in droves. Okay, so by 10:30 in the morning, they have to shut the gates of Disneyland because it's completely reached capacity.
Yeah.
To me, it seems obvious that if you're telling people where it normally costs $400 to get into the park, it's now going to be free if you show up in costume. But that was their kickoff. That was 1994. So needless to say, 1995. They did not do this.
No.
They did not repeat this stunt. 1995 was the official kickoff of Mickey's Halloween Tree. Is that what it's called? Mickey's Halloween Tree?
Mickey's Halloween, yes.
Yeah, was 1995. So that was their rather interesting
Wow.
Kickoff to
I
Halloween.
can't, I'm finding it hard to believe that somebody okayed that. Somebody was like, no, that's good. Announce it.
And again, they're tremendous. No one does synergy and publicity better, but
Right.
clearly they didn't understand their power of what kind of draw that was going to be.
Well, I mean, yeah, trial and error is about.
Yeah. So 1995 to 2006 was Mickey's Halloween Treat. In 2001, of course, was the beginning of the Haunted Mansion holiday.
Right.
It started out as, let's just see if there's any interest in this overlay.
Right.
And they literally, the Imagineers, the terminology was, we're going to scotch tape
Oh
together
my
something
gosh.
to see how that does. And of course, it was a huge success from the moment it started, which has had implications, of course, on the bride. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But 2001 was the Haunted Mansion holiday, and then in 2006 officially became Halloween time.
Wow, Halloween time, and that's what we all know now.
That's what we now know.
Time.
Hugely successful.
Very.
Obviously, anybody who's been down Main Street, as we showed you earlier, I mean, they've beautifully integrated the holiday now so that it is a major event. It draws people from all over the world for Halloween time, but it took them 50 years to figure out
so
actually.
It didn't start out that way exactly.
A little bit of a wobbly start.
A little bit of a wobbly
But once
start.
they figured it out, it obviously has been tremendous. So.
And that's so funny because again, one would assume or could assume with such importance Halloween had, you would think it would have stuck right through.
Right,
but
from
no.
its early beginnings.
No. Huh.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, Disney has remained very loyal to Anaheim. It had the reverse effect once Disneyland opened and became the major draw for Anaheim. The annual Anaheim Halloween Festival really kind of suffered and struggled through the 70s, and Disney would continuously come back and start sponsoring things, and it became eventually the Anaheim Fall Festival, which is going on right now, and it's now is still become a major draw once again. But Disney has very loyally helped support the city of Anaheim and given back to it with continual sponsorships and giving back.
So it's safe to say that Anaheim and Disney, they truly take
They get
care.
along.
They take care of one another.
They're homies.
They're good. They're good. We're with Kat Cressida. You guys, we're with the bride. Do you guys realize that? We're with the bride that you know of the Haunted Mansion. And I've got to ask you, Kat, what was it like?
We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out our Star Wars Land updates from the Knothole Gang, or maybe our Secrets in History videos. Or you can just watch all of our weekly trip reports and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Bake Fresh Daily. And don't forget, you can support Fresh Bake by joining our Patreon campaign or by buying a Fresh Bake t-shirt. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Fresh Baked!